Hi, guys. Welcome to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. This podcast is all about life and all things that comes with it. This is a safe space to be vulnerable, to talk about love, inspire growth, and encourage freedom. Join me and rediscover life's complexities that make things worthwhile. Hey guys, welcome to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. And tonight, we're going to talk about yourself, identifying who you are and what makes you up. And, knowing this would actually help you figure out and navigate yourself through this crazy, crazy world. So join me in tonight's episode and enjoy. So hey guys, so today we are going to talk about you. So there are a lot of things that goes into my mind when I think about myself, and I hope that this goes the same way for you. Because in a lot of things that I encountered in my life, is that I was in a constant battle with myself, defining who I was, and a lot of people actually were factored into that decision of who I am. Not because they told me who I am, but subconsciously I actually seeked approval from a lot of people around me. I mean, in a sense, that's how society works. That's how life works. Is you are connected with a lot of people, and these people who you deem valuable and who matter to you, their opinions matter to you as well. And sometimes the noise of this world actually is easier to hear now because social media, we have everything on TV that tells us how we are supposed to be. And it's also deeply rooted in a lot of things that we are as people. And sometimes, as people, we forget that ourselves, we are able to define ourselves. This episode is identifying you. I thought about this because I grew up in a sense, or I grew up in a place or in a time where everything is turbulent for me. Growing up gay was difficult. Everybody had a lot of opinions about being gay. Everybody had things to say, and of course, it affected me as I grew up. It made me feel uncomfortable with myself. It made me doubt who I was, and there were a lot of things that I actually listened from the outside and brought upon me, and it became a part of me. And sometimes it was bad, sometimes it was good, but when the only time where I found out that things that happened to me were okay and good was when I was able to process it on my own and nitpick the things that I like about myself, the things I have to change, not because I want to change for the world, but I want to change for myself and to be that better version of myself. So, this theme of identifying you is mostly about like self love. So, we talk about self love like, oh, we treat ourselves to this, we buy our things that we want, we spoil ourselves to the things that gratify us. But for me, I think the idea of self love is way deeper than just allowing yourself to indulge in the things that you like. So, for me, self love is the idea of acknowledging yourself first. So, that's one. You acknowledge yourself as a human being, as a person that has valid emotions, valid thoughts, valid opinions, and it may not be good all the time. And for other people, it may be insensitive. And there are a lot of things that you have to think about now. And I know that. And for me, the part of me now is mostly acknowledging me, acknowledging myself. I acknowledge my ideas. I acknowledge my pain. I acknowledge my sadness. Acknowledging and getting to know and giving names to these feelings of yours also gives you that strength of like understanding where it comes from. So for me, self love is mostly acknowledging yourself, acknowledging your flaws, and looking in the mirror and be like, bitch, you know what? Oh, sorry for the term, but like you're the baddest bitch. You're the baddest person here, and sometimes you're not gonna feel that, but acknowledging the times that you don't feel yourself is also good because you have emotions and it goes in and out of you. So better yet, acknowledge who you are as a person, acknowledge how you feel, acknowledge how you see things, and that's the first part of self-love. Okay? So for me, self-love is more than just treating yourself. It's actually acknowledging that you are a person that needs things. So why is it important? Why is it important to allow ourselves to do what we want or to be who we are, the most authentic parts of ourselves, and acknowledging these things? Well, it's important because it gives you this sense of identity. It gives you this idea of who you are without other people's perspectives. By acknowledging yourself, by acknowledging who you are, you allow yourself to define you apart from everybody else. It gives you that idea that, I'm not ugly. I may be, in somebody else's perspective, but I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am kind. I'm wonderful in my own way. And acknowledging that some other people has their own preferences, has their own perspectives, makes it easier for you to accept that, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I am my cup of tea, not because I have no choice, but I am amazing. So, those are the things that you have to think about when it comes to self love. You look at yourself and see yourself for who you are. Next is how do you set apart yourself from everybody? Because everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be this. Everybody wants to be that, or everybody wants to be just great at what they do. And no shade on that. No anything on that. Because being successful is everybody's dream. Having meaning to life is everybody's purpose. It's everybody's goal. And for me, you know, getting yourself in a position where you know yourself in a totally deeper level makes it easier for you to stand out. You know why people become famous or why people become very, they call that contagious or infectious in their certain aura? It's because they know who they are, they know themselves. And being with themselves makes it easier for them to actually know what they can bring to the table. And it doesn't matter to them how much some other people hates it or whatever, but they just do themselves, you know, they just become who they are, authentic, real, true, and people admire that. People see that. That energy that person puts out is infectious and contagious. So setting yourself apart from everybody is mostly just being authentic, like being your true self. Because being your true self is already a sign of authenticity, a sign of being apart from everybody. Just like our fingerprints are different from each other, just about everything, every aspect of our lives is different from each other. And no one would actually have the same experiences and emotions and thought process as you. So, you know, setting yourself apart in that sense is amazing because you get to know who you are. You get to nitpick what you like. You get to actually tell yourself, now, okay, I don't like this. I don't enjoy this. Okay, maybe I'll do something else. Because, you know, sometimes you just do something because society tells you to do so. For example, me, masculinity. A lot of people have been, I've been, a member of the LGBTQIA community for the longest time I've been alive. And I've been flamboyant, effeminate, I've been all those things. And I also have my masculine tendencies. But I've encountered where I felt the need to be more masculine just because I want to be liked by the persons I want to date, I want to be with. And it dampened my spirituality or my spirit because, well, it's not the authentic me. And I'm now not apart from everybody because everybody's also trying to be that, to be liked, to be loved. But now I'm in a position where I see myself in front of the mirror and be like, I love you. And like, no matter the whatever, and even if I have a zit on my face, all those insecurities I take in myself because I do have them, but I love myself either way. So that's like acknowledging. That's what self-love is. Acknowledging you as a person. Next is we talk about determining what makes you. So there's a good exercise to this that my friend Nicole Mercado, she's one of my closest friends, and we actually have these talks where we process ourselves, we process our experiences, we process our emotions together. And then there was this one time she shared to me that, you know, like she gets drowned in everybody else's opinions about her or everybody else's energy that she forgets who she is. So she did this exercise that I actually tried and I think you guys should, is where she wrote down every little thing that she thinks about. For example, oh, I like dogs. So I'm gonna write it down. What I like dogs. I like this. I like this. And you get to define that. If you list it down, you say you like the color pink, you like riding motorcycles, you like surfing. When you write these down, it becomes a part of you. You get to remember and you get to define certain things about yourself, with just yourself, like your mind. Metacognitive idea of who you are. Metacognitive means thinking of thinking about yourself. And next is there's a part where she also wrote what she doesn't like, and that she would have a clear sense of what are the things and her boundaries in her life. And lastly, her quirks. She wrote down her quirks. She wrote down what she finds weird about herself, but nonetheless accept it because it's a part of her. And that's what makes her beautiful, because she's aware of herself. She's aware of the things that she likes, and she has this own separate identity from all the people around her. So now, I'm just gonna give you a few tips. That's one. Write down and describe yourself and how you see yourself and who you believe you are. So like, put it down on a piece of paper. Define yourself. Describe yourself. You don't have to be mean about yourself. You don't have to be the toughest critic out there, because the world is already cruel and harsh. Might as well be nice to yourself. Look at the brighter side of who you are. What drives you to live. I guess that would make it easier for you to identify you and who you are. Next is find the time to connect with yourself and your emotions. Tend to who you are before you tend to your relationships. So this is where we all fail, I guess. I mean, you know, the world is in a fast-paced environment now that when you're not hustling, it looks bad on you. When you're not working, you look mad. When or lazy, and when you're not doing anything worth everybody's perspective, you feel disappointed in yourself. But that's not the case. I mean, you get to tell kasi yourself, you get to tell yourself which pacing you're supposed to go through. You're not supposed to go through at everybody else's pace. You have your own pace. So as for me, the way I find time to connect with myself is I have my morning coffees and I have my journaling. I write down my emotions, I write down how I feel that day, I write down my goals. And I get to see more of myself growing in a sense where I would remember writing this down and I feel bad that few months ago about the heartbreak, and now I feel better, and now I'm worrying about work instead of just that heartbreak. And there's a lot of growth that you can see in that. Finding the time to connect with yourself and your emotions lead you to a more understanding of how you see the world, of how you can actually navigate yourself through your emotions and through the world. So you find time to connect with yourself. You yourself can define you, and the time that you give yourself is also mostly important, because how are you going to tend to other people when you can't even tend to yourself? If you want to have a relationship, or if you want to have a better relationship with your friends, your family, have a relationship with yourself. Treat yourself, listen to yourself, be with yourself, and that will lead you to immense growth. So another tip would be do things that feed your soul and creativity. I know a lot of people who's scared to do things on their own just because, I don't want to be without anyone. I can't do this alone. I feel shy. I feel like whatever. That's one of the things that you have to work on. But for me, doing an activity that feeds your soul and creativity on a solo journey is quite the experience, I promise you. I mean, I remember doing my open mics solo in Ampalaya Monologues, and those were the best moments of my life, because I was able to meet people of the same interests. I was able to meet people of the same passions, and it was great because I was growth. I learned about how they write. I learned about things that make them happy, and I also felt their experience, and I was able to share mine. So like I went on these trips solo, and there wasn't me anyone I know, not my closest friends, just because I feel like this is a part of me that I want to tend to. So yeah, do things that feed your soul and creativity, and don't be afraid to be alone. Watch a movie on your own. Start with that. Eat and dine on your own. Dine in a fancy restaurant, for crying out loud, or get yourself a room in a hotel. It's fun, identifying you, feeling yourself. It's just one of the best things I've actually tried to practice last year. After like going through a whole I love you phase of a relationship, and there was a whole lot of things, and I had to learn to live on my own again. And this is one of the things that I actually did. Create goals for your self growth, is and development. Seek for knowledge. Some of us, we tend to be in a routine. We stay in a certain position where it feels comfortable. We make it seem like we're always on that go, we're always on the same path, one path to success. But there's no one path to success. Success has different intertwined paths with different people in it, different key people in their life, key people that will help you reach your goal. But here is you create yourself. Like, another way to get in touch with yourself is to create goals. Find out something you want to do. Find out something where you want to be great at, and just stay there and like reach it. And you'll see daily, day in, day out, you'd have this renewed motivation to be a better person. It doesn't have to be grand, it doesn't have to be big. Start small, like if you want to become very environmentalist, or you want to become that person who's aware of what's happening in the world. You can be someone who reads the news. You can be someone who wants to like help the environment. You can be the one to use tumblers like I do now. You could start step by step, and these are goals and growth that doesn't have to be big, but you have to work on it, build on it. Because if you again get to one of those biggest goals and be like, I want to reach that goal, and then you fail and you fall short, you're setting up you're setting yourself up to fail, and you're gonna be upset and demotivated. So start small, reach your goal. If you have a fitness goal, aim for it. If you want this goal of like getting books to read, go for it. There are things that you want to develop upon yourself, and it's okay. Work on it. Be there and open yourself up to those new things. Um, Lastly is, or actually there are two more. Be open to criticism and change. You know, this is connected to the relationships around you, the people that you surround yourself with. So if you have friends and lifelines, so these two are actually interconnected. So find your lifelines, the family and friends who accepts you for who you are, and who's willing to have the hard conversations with you. They will be the one to actually criticize you for being someone who they don't recognize anymore. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But most of all, it will be coming up from a place of love. They would be like, okay, I don't think this is working out for you, and I'm only looking out for you, and I hope you change your ways. And they say, oh, we don't find this good anymore. So these are the real people who actually you want to keep around, because they keep it real with you. No tea, no shade. And they're gonna throw shade. They're actually not gonna throw shade. They're gonna read you to filth, and they're gonna be like, bitch, or sorry, girl, you're not doing this right, or like, girl, you're getting yourself into a whole lot of trouble. And I hope you recognize that and realize that. So these people, surround yourself with people who actually care for you, who's actually there to slap you in the face when you're doing something wrong. Typical situations where you want to get back with your ex and be like, they're gonna tell you, no, he hurt you too much, and like, don't ever come back. Or they would acknowledge your flaws and tell you up front that you're making a big mistake out of your life. So yeah, so be open to it though, because like, if you're not open to those criticisms and change for the better, you'd actually be stuck in a rut. So yeah, okay, so tonight's episode for me, it feels heavy and light at the same time, but it feels really good to actually share the things that I've learned throughout. So before I end tonight and give you like, synthesizing all these tips, or always remember that yourself comes first. It doesn't have to be selfish. It may seem selfish, but knowing yourself, getting to the nitty gritty of who you are, gets you to like a point where you can set up healthy boundaries for people around you. And it will not only benefit them, it will also benefit you. You'd allow yourself some space to grow, and you'd have this autonomy over yourself on what you want to do and who you want to be with. And it will actually take you away from this crazy, crazy idea of this world where everything has to be perfect. And sometimes it isn't, and sometimes it will be. But it will put you in that mindset where things are fleeting, and you're going to be grateful for the things that you have, and you're going to be appreciative of whatever it is just, right there in front of you. So get down to business and get to know who you are. Like, I don't know, for me, knowing myself, I don't fully know myself yet, but I'm working on it. I'm identifying myself. I'm identifying me. So that's what I want you to do. Identify you. Take down notes, list down who you are. Make sure that you get to define who you are, not just people around you. Define yourself. And then once you define yourself, go out into the world, tell them who you are, and they would know who you are. And define your boundaries and make friendships, tend to the relationships that you have, and grow. That's why it's love, growth, and freedom. Because there's so many things that you could do in the world, and this is one of them. So, lastly, I want you to identify you. Thank you, and have a good weekend. Bye!